Hey man, I'm back.
Hey. All right. You've been quite busy, right?
You know what it was? I've had quite a big leak in my place, so the last
Oh,
few days I've been having to try and fix it. So
okay. All right, no problem. Drop shipping 2021.
I'm actually making more money at the moment just because I'm using new advertisement platforms like TikTok. So that's a big change at the moment, switching from Facebook to TikTok, and I'm finding that I'm more profitable on that side. But I would say that you do need more money than you would need for the last fewer years. So the barrier to entry has slightly risen.
Very good. And for people that are just starting, or like people that are thinking about making some passive income, they don't have their foot all in yet. What advice do you have for these people?
Yeah, so there's no such thing as passive income with drop shipping. So I just want to make sure that people understand that. If you understand what passive income means, you can't do it with drop shipping. That's just fake. It doesn't work.
All right. So, one of your recent videos, you talk a lot about Q4. So we're almost there. We're basically there. September's right around the corner. So people who are, getting ready for Q4, what's drop shipping like? What are they getting themselves into? What's the ecosystem for that?
Yeah, so during Q4, you're going to get yourself into a very busy time of the year, very hectic time of the year. You're going to get a lot of customer service days where the majority of your days is really just handling customer service, people complaining, people asking if they can have refunds, people asking where their parcels are. I always say in Q4, the sell's not the hardest part. Making sure that the package gets to their address on time is the hardest part. So the majority of your time is going to be on logistics and customer support. So you've got to really have yourself ready for that. And you will have a lot of people that will try and scam you as well and try and get free things from you by saying they've ordered something when they haven't. So just bear in mind these things.
All right. What are the risks, or what should people try to avoid during Q4? What are some
Yeah.
practices people should adopt for this busy season?
The risks that a lot of people take on board is they don't actually test the product. They don't actually get a sample out to see the quality of the product, how it comes, what do they should expect when they get it. Because if you don't know what you're expecting, then when somebody gets something, you don't know what they've received because you've never seen it before. So you need to make sure that you're testing that out. Now, the other risk that people take on board is they sell a little bit too late. So we're getting into December. It's getting very close to Christmas, and people will push those extra few days, maybe a week, and it won't get delivered on time. And then they have to refund the customer because it's not met their expectations. So, really think about your logistic times, really think about the products that you're selling to people, and make sure that you know that you're covered on the quality side, the delivery time side, and you also want to prepare for potentially buying in bulk because if you want to keep up with the good delivery times and the good quality controls, you might have to get into the buying in bulk and move away from the drop shipping business model.
All right. And okay, so when we talk about drop shipping, we usually think about the big four like US, UK, Canada, possibly Australia. But what about other places in the world? Like during Q4, from your experience, how does it resonate with other parts of the world?
Yeah, so our best selling countries at the moment and in Q4 is going to be things like France, Germany. Those are two countries that nobody really spends much time on, and they're one of the most underrated countries. Ireland's a good one. So if you're looking for a replacement for the UK, Ireland's a really good one as well. You don't really want to be like, if you're focusing on the main countries like your US, your Canadas, you want to make sure that you're either selling something that nobody's selling, or you want to make sure that you're using a platform that nobody's using to sell that product. So if everybody's selling that product on Facebook or YouTube, try using TikTok and vice versa, because you're going to get really high costs.
Yeah, and one of your videos, I remember you mentioned about like unsaturated markets or places like Brazil or Asia.
Hmm.
How do people prepare for those places that are not usually like on the beaten path? Is there something that you can advise people? You got a market that maybe is saturated, but you want to test a product somewhere else. How to go about that?
Yeah, so if you're moving to new markets, you need to make sure your website's in their language. You need to make sure that they can accept their currency. Now, something that's not really spoken about, which if it's available for people, that cash on delivery is huge in some of these countries and they work really, really well. Bear that in mind. If you can do it, do it. It works really, really good in Italy and in Brazil. And the other thing is you need to understand the market because when you sign to countries like Brazil, this has got nothing to do with it. It's a beautiful country, but you're going to get a lot of high fraudulent charges on certain products because that's just the nature of it. So you do need to bear that in mind that that is a country that you're going into where there could be a lot of high risk orders on your store, and you need to assess them and have the right tools on your Shopify store that can analyze the charges because Shopify will give you their own risks, but there's other apps you can use that will make sure that they work out if they are real or fake. So bear those things in mind and you should be fine.
Very good. So what about niche products? You know, like moving into this quarter, this last quarter, you got so many holidays coming up. How to land that right product? How to find that product that will last you up until like New Year's or something? Like how, what is your thought process for that?
So it's simple and it comes down to psychology now. What will people be willing to buy this year, for the end of this year, and for the start of next year? So what I like to say is gym wear, fitness does well because people like to buy these gifts for people for Christmas, but they also like to have New Year's resolutions in the new year. So it's killing two birds with one stone because you're able to sell to a market that will buy it for the Q4 and also buy it for Q1. So you've always got to think about, will my product survive for this time of the year and this time of the year? Because Q1 is a big killer for a lot of niches. It'll kill them because during Q1, not people haven't got much money. They've bought a lot of stuff recently. So unless it's something that is really strong for what they want, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah. So could you tell us from your experience, like what kind of niches are like, a good investment right now? Like, is it like appliance, beauty? What usually does well at this time of the year?
So our all-rounder best seller throughout every year has got to be kids toys. Kids toys just people having kids all the time. People have to buy kids toys all the time because the kids get bored of their toys. So they need new toys. We find that those do well all the time. Beauty isn't always a good one. Is always a good one. The only issue with beauty is it is really, really saturated and it can be really tough, but it is an all-rounder. But I would say if you want probably the best one, in my opinion, then kids' toys is by far my favorite one. I'm more on the stress and anxiety toys. The stress and anxiety toys are huge. I don't know if you've seen this product, and I literally, we're selling it right now, and it was on one of our recent videos. And I saw loads of kids in town with them. It's those rainbow colored pop things, like you put your fingers in it and you pop them.
Yeah.
Like everybody's got them at the moment, and it's crazy. Like stress, and that's a stress and anxiety toy to actually help people with stress and anxiety. And those have become very popular during the whole thing we've been going through. A lot of people have been investing in those types of products.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, when we talk about Q4 and we think about all these holidays, should people think about like each individual date, or should they kind of just conceptualize like the entirety of like 4 months?
So Halloween is one of them, and that's just a separate industry, the way you advertise to it, because it's a very unique thing. And that is technically classed as a Q4 topic, and it always does well. It is quite hard to get into. But Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you can tie them both into one and advertise. So when you're doing your ads, you can mention it both in the ad copies and in the thumbnails. That's fine. So Halloween's on its own, Black Friday and Cyber Monday together. Christmas should be on its own. You should be advertising with unique coupons and stuff on its own. And then you've got the new year, that should also be on its own.
Very good. Now, going on to like brand awareness, or how do you, what about like tips for drop shippers to increase their visibility? Like, people need to be known. There's so much competition, right? So how to boost sales, how to increase visibility, things like that.
So the only thing you can really do, and I say this to people now, is the organic ways of growing your audience and growing your visitors has slowed down. Like all these platforms have put things in place where they make it very hard to grow audiences on a more of a free organic way. The only real way you can do things, pardon me, that are going to really move fast is by doing paid ads, you know, like TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Google. But the thing that people need to make sure they do is when they're running these paid ads to their stores, they've got to do something called retention-based marketing, where it's all good having them on your site for the one time, but you need to use things like email marketing, text marketing to keep people actively on your site. Because I always say to people, if you've got enough people from Q4, if you've grown a big enough email list, you can use them for next year as well and have a good amount of sales. And we actually run ads to email signups where people are actually signing up to an email list, not actually a product, buying a product, because we know as an asset format that having them on an email list and then converting them to a text marketing list is better than running them just directly to a product page.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so last time you recommended TikTok for visibility. Is that still the go-to, or is there anything else that people should bring their attention to?
Yeah, TikTok is a good one. Organically as well. I think that's probably the best platform if you want to organically get attention. If you can go viral on TikTok, you can do really, really well. Paid ads is also good on TikTok. YouTube ads, that's another really good one that not a lot of people try, and it's really powerful because you've got to remember your most common ones that are going to be used during Q4 are going to be Google ads, display ads, shopping ads, Facebook ads. Pinterest is something that not many people do. Now, I can't really talk much about it because I've never really done it before, but I know a lot of people have great success with it within the beauty niche and the home decor niche. So that's something to think about if you're going into those niches.
Okay, and user-generated ads, product video, testimonial video ads, those are still valid options, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like we made a video the other day about one of our stores during Q4 last year, and one of the best things that we did was we made a creative where we have a testimonial and we run it as a remarketing ad, and it just does crazy. Remarketing during Q4 is what makes the most money, not the actual direct outreach, cold reach.
Yeah. In terms of campaigns, creatives, you just mentioned creative. Like, what kind of campaigns work best for you? Well, what are the creatives like? People can go and watch your channel and see the kind of content you're pushing out. But from you right now, what kind of creatives? How to reach out to people to create creatives for you? What's your process like? How do you like to do it?
UCG content does the best. User-generated content does the best all the time, where you're getting somebody to use your product in a TikTok fashion. So TikTok is they're using their iPhone just to create a quick video of them showcasing the product, UCG, and we find that works the best by far. People are they can relate to that more than anything. So it's not even about high quality ads anymore, depending on the niche you're doing. If it's high tech products, high home decor, then fair enough. But if you're doing beauty products or anything that's on the cheaper end, UCG content, user generated content will do the best by far. And you can get that done on multiple sites. Doing them yourself is also good unless it's a different product where you can't do it yourself. But
yeah. How is Facebook nowadays? How is Facebook like advertising? Should they invest in Facebook? Google ads, from your experience, how to view these platforms nowadays? Is it still valid? How much money are you looking into investing during this Q4?
Yeah, so Facebook ads is still a good option. I would say it's more of the premium option now. So it's where all the rich people or the guys with the most money go to play. And it's good. So I like to use Facebook after I've got data, and then I use Facebook for a targeting and things like lookalikes. But in terms of cold interest, it's also quite valid. But at the moment, my marketing strategy is 60% going to be TikTok, and then another 20% is going to be Facebook, and then another 20% is going to be YouTube. That's how I've arranged it. And TikTok and YouTube are going to be the ones that get me going. And then I'll try and remarket on Facebook. But we still use Facebook a lot, but it is a lot more expensive. And unless you've got high ticket products, it can be quite hard to make money on there.
Yeah, and that surely still converts, right? So you still have a good conversion rate. It's all dependent on what your marketing strategy is, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Camille, when you wake up in the morning and you say, okay, let me start this drop shipping day today, well, what are your like practices? Like, what do
Hmm.
you usually do? What is your like schedule? This is what I'm going to do today. This is what I need today, and this is the objective. Like, how do you wake up in the morning? How do you organize your daily schedule?
So it really depends where I'm in my journey. If we've just started a store, then it's different to if we're scaling a store. But generally, we start with the hardest things of the day and then we work to the easiest things of the day. That's how I like to plan it. So if I've just started a store, then it's just pretty much getting the ads, doing the ads straight away, getting the ads done, and then working backwards what works well, getting up to date with orders and stuff like that. But you really want to spend time on the things that are most important on the day that are going to generate money. Because if you've got a store that's generating quite a lot of money, you're getting good daily orders, good weekly orders, then your focus should be on a lot of maintaining it, keeping them happy, and also generating more. So it really does depend on where you are at the moment. But again, like I said, I wake up in the morning, do the hardest tasks first, and I work my way backwards.
Very good. Now, a platform like Wheel, right?
Mhm.
How well are you going to recommend a platform like Wheel or any other of these fulfillment companies? How can they serve people who are looking into doing this Q4 madness?
Yeah, so things like Wio are good for people to start with, and get their foot through the door and test products with comfortably, because things like AliExpress, they're not perfect. And I'm going to be honest, no supply is perfect, and that's just the general honest truth. We all have our problems, but moving away from AliExpress is the best thing that you can do, really, because the communication barrier, the honesty barrier, I find that they're not very honest with you when it comes to certain things, and you've got to move to somebody that you can trust, that's going to be honest with you, that's going to take liability if there's ever an issue. So Weo is good for that in terms of communication, product quality, shipping times, and in terms of liability as well, in my opinion.
Very good. Now, in terms of suppliers, what is like the Bible for suppliers? Like, what do you ask them? What should you know? What are the important things to ask them when you make that first contact? Is it a good idea to have more than one supplier, like a plan B, perhaps? What could you tell us about that?
Yes, the real good guideline that I like to do is I like to ask the supplier, if the product that I'm interested in selling, do you actually have it in stock at your warehouse now, or are you just going to buy it off your supplier? Like, because a lot of products that are listed on these websites, they don't even have them in their warehouses, and that can be the issue why it takes so long. To make sure that, find out if they have it, and if they don't have it, how long will it take them to get it in and then send it to a customer. And you want to ask, and this isn't easy to do because for some people they don't want to do it, but I like to ask the last couple of tracking numbers that they've got to see on average how long it's taken. Some suppliers won't do it because of privacy reasons, but I like to try and get them just in case so I can be safe. And then I also like to ask the suppliers, what's your like liability? So if the product receives broken to my customer, or it's not received the way that it was described on your site, will you refund me, and will you take liability in terms of, if it's your fault, will you give me the money, because shouldn't be my problem. And then the other thing is, you want to know where they're shipping the items from, where their locations are. You also want to know what their communication is in terms of the languages they speak, and you also want to know how many people are working in that team, in different teams. So logistic team, how many people are working. So then roughly, are they going to really realistically going to be able to scale with you? Because some suppliers are great to start with, but then when you get into scaling, they can't handle it. So those are the questions that you must ask.
Okay, so and a platform like Wheel, right? These fulfillment platforms, what are the things to get to know about them? How do you know if one is a valid one? Can they help scale your business? Will they help, supply logistics? Like, how are these things like? Because not all the time you're going to do business directly with the supplier. You're going to have a fulfillment company like Wheel to aid you with that. But what are the things you expect from a company like Wheel?
Yeah, so when you're working with companies like Weo and any other companies that are similar, you want to make sure that you've got a good relationship with them. There's one person that you can go to, and you get used to them. And you want to make sure that they've got your business at the best interest, because a lot of these people, you got to be careful that their own needs ain't number one. Your needs should be number one, and you should be getting honesty is everything, As soon as somebody's not honest with me, I cut them straight out and I'll move to another person, because that's the key to me: honesty and having somebody that I'm close to individually. Those are the two things, and those are what the middle people should be taking responsibility for.
Very good. So would you recommend Wheel for this Q4? Is it a company that you would go to?
So it is. Wheel is one of the companies that we've actually said to people to use during Q4 and just any time of the year, especially during the new year this year for Chinese New Year. You guys did a great job because you didn't take much time off for holiday, which was amazing. So yeah, Wheel is an option that you should take as an alternative to AliExpress, and it's one of the ones that me and the team have heard a lot of good things about, and some people that I know as well have had some great results with Wheel as well.
Very cool, very cool. Now, Kamil, I always tend to think in the future. So looking at 2022, with all the craziness in the world, where is dropshipping heading?
Yeah, so dropshipping's heading dropshipping's heading in a way where the products that you're selling nowadays ain't the ones that you'd be selling in the last few years. Those pet grooming gloves, I don't think they'll do well in the future. A lot of the products have changed. The way you're promoting your products in terms of how people are perceiving it as value is going to change drastically. Having a private label brand from the get-go, I think, will become an industry standard sooner than later, especially if you're working with influencers. They don't really work with you unless you have got a brand. It's one of their rules normally. And I think it's going to go down the artificial reality, AR, VR route, where people want to be able to know what the product's like before they even receive it. And to do that, you need to be able to display it in technology where they're able to see it in their house before, because some people just feel safer and better by doing that. And those are the ways that this industry will go by far.
Very good. Now, Kamil, personally speaking, how long do you think you'll be in this game? Do you have a foreseeable future?
Yeah, so I don't plan on leaving this game anytime soon. I'm happy. I'm in it for the long term, and I don't think I'll ever leave. I think with me, it's just more of the progression of turning a dropshipping store into a private label brand and then turning it into a proper e-commerce brand. And I love seeing it grow from a baby to a mature adult, and that's the process I like. But obviously there will become a time where I get old. I think maybe in my 30s, if we're able to get there, 30s, 40s, I don't know, man. But I'm in it. Don't get me wrong. I'm in it for the long term. I'll be here in 2030. Sorry, 2030. I'll be here, man. 2040. I'll probably be here as well.
So, how long have you been doing this? And do you think you've achieved, or did you get to the point where you said, yeah, in a few years, I want to be doing this? Did you, from the date you started or the day you began thinking about it, how long ago was that? And are you where you want to be?
So I started drop shipping, but I started e-commerce in 2015, but I started drop shipping in 2017, and it's been a long journey, a lot of ups and downs, and I've achieved a lot of the success that I wanted to achieve. But you know what? When you achieve these goals, new goals appear, and I always say to people, I don't know what it is, but you can never be satisfied in life, and I think that's what keeps you going. If you get satisfied, you get lazy. But for some reason, I've achieved a lot of the goals. I'd say 90% of the ones that I wanted in the first place, but my goals have got bigger. And yeah, I just want to get on to bigger and better things, really.
All right, Kamil. Okay, any last words, Kamil, for this Q4 before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would say people need to buckle up, get your helmets out, because it is a rough ride and it isn't easy. You're going to go for a lot of it is mental challenges. You're going to get in a mental state a lot of the times, and you just got to pursue and keep going. As long as you followed the guidelines to a good level, you should be okay. You just got to stick in. And I always say to people, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody making lots of money. It's not easy. It is tough. But if you're willing to keep in and buckle up, because you can learn a lot. If you're a beginner and you start during Q4, you can learn what most people don't learn during Q1 to Q3 because of how the timeline works. So if you're able to buckle up and get your head down, this Q4 could make your next year, 2020, be the best year of your life, And that's what I've always said to people, because Q4 back in 2018 or 2019 was what really changed my career in terms of how I looked at things. So that's why I'm such a big person on Q4 and how it can really mold people.
All right, Camille, that is all for us. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries. It's always been a pleasure. Thank you for always having me on board.
All right, have a great one, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
Take it easy.